What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Everybody, welcome in to a not live edition because life is crazy. Your boy was tired. Matt had jet lag, so we're a little bit delayed, but we're here, and it's episode 552 of Underground Sports Philadelphia, presented by the City of Vineland. It's KB coming at you from Underground Studios, and joining me this week, back on the main pod, I think for the first time digitally, maybe. We'll have to fact check that, but it is the one and only future Alaskan resident. If we don't get to 1,000 subscribers before his birthday, it's DJ.
DJ 1K, baby, get us there. Y'all know how cold I get. Like, I'm just sitting in my own house wearing a windbreaker. Like, you cannot send me to Alaska.
I was watching Jeopardy today, and one of the answers that they show on the thing, they have to respond to the question, obviously. You intellectuals, that's how Jeopardy works. Was talking about the Anchorage airport, and I was like, that's where Deej is going to be flying into from Massachusetts on September 4th if we don't get to 1,000 subscribers.
Did you see the other day, there was a question about Kalamazoo, and there was a girl who went to Kalamazoo College and didn't know the answer. It was like it was like U.S. cities or whatever, and it was like, what city is known as like the mall city, but also the city of celery? They're like the celery city, and obviously it's Kalamazoo, but like none of them knew the answer. One person said Detroit, the other said Minneapolis. First off, it said what Michigan city, and the other person said Minneapolis, and I said definitely in Michigan.
To the gulag you go.
Bang.
We have a lot to get into, from the fight in Phils to me just being absolutely exhausted by the Philadelphia 76ers. We're going to talk about some of these new NFL uniforms that have been dropping over the past couple of days and kind of put them in a tier ranking. There's a football immaculate grid that we have to do because it's new. We have to get into it. And Deej is going to get introduced to his first Brink Bonk bump. Can't wait to see who DJ has lined up for that. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys are following us on the socials. That includes Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at UndergroundPHI, Facebook.com/UndergroundSportsPHI, and Twitch.tv/UndergroundSportsPHI. You can follow DJ on Twitter at SCS_NextGreat. You can follow me on Twitter at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We're there. Leave a 5-star rating and review. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow. It helps our entire network continue to grow. And DJ, I got to say, I'm putting this out there for the future potential advertisers. I did this on Sunday with Pitts, and the numbers have increased even more. Our downloads over the last 30 days have increased 1,135%. So shout out to everybody listening on audio recently.
That's crazy.
As a man in radio,
that's crazy.
You know how important ratings are.
More important than anything. That's how you really get your money. If you got good ratings, you can sell to anybody.
So we're up almost 1,200% in downloads on audio. So keep it coming. Subscribe on Apple and Spotify. Please leave a 5-star rating and review too, because that also helps. It helps us get on the charts. Where we are currently in the top 1,500 USA sports podcasts. So there it is. Keep it pushing. And, of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. That's where you get full video episodes of this show twice a week. You get full video episodes of damn near every show on our network, which includes the Outside the Box podcast with myself and Deej. That includes Top Bins with Matt and Dom, Streamer Season with myself, Christian and Dylan, F1 Underground with Casey and Owen, Get in the Hole with Steve and Ben. All the content on our YouTube channel. You get shorts, clips, live streams, any original video content. It's going on our YouTube channel. We are currently at 516 subscribers. Need to get to 600 ASAP. no Rocky, and we need to get to 1,000 before DJ's birthday on September 4th. Otherwise, when we're done at Gillette Stadium, he's flying to Alaska instead of Kalamazoo. He's not even going to be able to pack up his bags at his house and pack everything. He's going to have to get it shipped. Do you know how expensive it is to ship things to Alaska? Do you want Deej to have to ship his bed to Alaska? I don't think so.
Don't do that to me.
That'd be terrible.
I'd literally cry.
You guys think Kalamazoo is cold? Just wait until DJ has to experience like 6 months of the year just being pure darkness. We don't want that for our boy.
Good thing I'm not scared of the dark anymore.
The YouTube subscribers, I would look at you and be like, look at how they massacred my boy.
I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna show up for championships next year, and you're gonna be like, "Who is this?"
You're gonna have one of those like hardcore like snow hats on. You're gonna have the Kenny from South Park jacket just all tied up on your face.
You thought I was bugging last year wearing hoodie and pants. I'm gonna show up in a snowsuit.
He's gonna look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's make that happen. So DJ doesn't have to move to Alaska. And of course, like I mentioned too, this podcast presented by the city of Vineland. Whether you're a company looking to expand, relocate, or you're a new business startup, selecting the right location is critical to your success. Vineland, New Jersey offers both an affordable business location and an excellent quality of life. The city's economic development department is a one-stop source for moving your project through the development and approval process, and their goal is to make this process as smooth as possible while providing the fastest turnaround times in the region. If you're considering potential locations for your operation, contact the Vineland Economic Development Team at 856-794-4100. That's 856-794-4100. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. And big thank you to Security 21 Security Systems and Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated for their continued support of this podcast. Deej, the Fightin' Phils, they let us down this week at home as they lose 2 out of 3 to the Milwaukee Brewers. It's brought to you by our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. The best in the game. There's no doubt in our minds. You guys will stand out in the crowd with their unique designs for all of our Philly sports fans and fans of this podcast network. Go to phiapparel.co. Check out everything they have to offer, from our podcast merch to, hey, Eagle season's right around the corner, and D just seen the Philly dog shirt. Tell the people at home that shirt's not fire.
Oh, one of the best shirts I've seen in the recent months. Well, sports shirts. One of the best sports merch shirts I've seen in the recent months. If you are a true Eagles fan, or you're one of those weird down south SEC Georgia fans, that is definitely a shirt for you.
So definitely go cop that. Go to phiapparel.co. Use code UNDERGROUND to get 10% off any and all merch orders. It's the most effective and direct way to support everything we're doing here at Underground Sports Philadelphia. Lets us keep doing dope stuff for you guys that we want to do as well. Like, we want to do dope stuff. We don't want to just sit around and do nothing. We want to do awesome stuff with you guys. So go to phiapparel.co and use code UNDERGROUND for 10% off your order. Unfortunately, the Phils lose 2 out of 3 to the Brewers. Not ideal, not great, because you want to win every series. You want to win 2 out of 3. You don't want to lose 2 out of 3, especially against a team that is right there in the thick of the wild card hunt with you as they're trying to win their division. They're a team you're battling with outside of your typical teams in the division. Luckily, the Miami Marlins, coming out of the All-Star break, have just been on an absolute cliff dive. They've lost 6 in a row. They're 2-8 in their last 10. So the losses haven't truly hurt the Phillies per se, as they are still by .001 in the win percentage column ahead of the Marlins in the wild card standings. Phillies sitting at 52-44, Marlins at 53-45. So at least the Marlins are losing while you lose as well. Brewers, though, they're in first place in their division, so that kind of evens things out there. So now you're battling the Reds in the wild card, but those are the types of games that Matt and I always talk about, especially when it comes to the division, when it's the Marlins, when it's the Mets, when it's the Nationals. Now it's also when you play teams like the Giants, the Brewers, the Reds, even the Padres. Like when you took 3 out of 4 from the Padres, that was huge. When you play teams like the Cubs, when you play teams like the Dodgers, you have to beat those teams so you stay in this wild card mix. Because of the expanded wild card, you get helped, but if you want to be in the mix, as the trade deadline gets closer and closer, right now as we record this, we're, 2 weeks away pretty much. August 1st is your trade deadline this year. You want to be as close to be like separating yourself from some of these other teams that are behind you, like the Marlins, like the Reds, even the Padres and the Cubs who are only 6.5 out in the wild card. Like those are teams that are like, hey, maybe we still have a chance to get in this thing if we buy a piece. But you want to push those teams down as far as possible, put yourself in a position to make an even better trade and go get a better player to improve this roster. So losing 2 out of 3 of the Brewers is not great.
Especially in terms of a team like the Reds, who are like, their team is pretty solidly built. Like they haven't quite found their stride, but they do get hot at times, and they are able to put quite a few series together. And before you know it, Phillies might be behind them pretty soon. So you have a pretty good standpoint on wanting to get into the groove. I honestly think, looking at how long the baseball season is, June, like the middle of June to the middle of August, are like the most important games you're going to play. Those are the ones where
Outside
people
of September,
kind of, yeah, like that. Well, but everybody's trying to play their best ball in September,
right?
Like people kind of get lax in that time, and people are kind of just like in a rhythm.
That
but
time frame shows you who's really a contender and who's a pretender.
Yeah, because teams kind of just fall to the wayside and get a little comfortable in like who the team is, how often they're playing, their rotations, all those kind of things. When you play well during that standpoint, that's when you start to really take a jump on teams, or you can afford to have a little bit of an okay September. If you have an okay stretch during that point, an okay September, you're in worry of not making wild card or the playoffs in general. So I think teams that can focus on this time during the season are in the best position to do well come playoff time. And I don't think the Phillies have been necessarily doing bad in this stretch, but they're not. I don't think they're playing to their full potential either.
Yeah.
But I'm also like outside fan looking in, like not super fan of the Phillies, not watching them on a consistent basis, really just scoreboard watching and watching Schwarber have 1 out of every 4 games be a good one on my fantasy team. Other than that, I'm kind of outside looking at. So it looks like they're in a fair position, but they're not necessarily taking advantage of what they have, but that also may be fair weather outside looking in information.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I agree. Like, they haven't played to their full potential. You're still dealing with injuries. You're still, figuring out Bryce Harper playing at first base so you can open up other things. Like Dave Dombrowski talked on John Heyman's podcast earlier this week and said, they are still trying to get Bryce to first base, which then allows you to put Kyle Schwarber at your DH spot, which opens up a position in left field, which would be huge for this team. If you can go and get an everyday, solid, above-average defensive left fielder to take Kyle Schwarber out of the field, that's going to improve your lineup defensively and offensively because you're also putting another bat in there that can play left field. And one of the guys that I've talked about that is on my dream wish list for this trade deadline for the Phillies is current Chicago Cub, former LA Dodger, former Rookie of the Year, Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger would be such a great fit for this team. And according to MLB trade rumors, Cody Bellinger is going to be a hot name for sure at this trade deadline. He's on an expiring contract. He's playing really well, having a bounce back year for the Cubs. But MLB Trade Rumor said any interest on Philadelphia's part would probably be contingent on Bryce Harper holding up at first base. If the Phils are convinced he's an everyday option there, they could kick Kyle Schwarber to DH and leave open a corner outfield spot for Bellinger. The Phils could also pursue Bellinger as a first base option if Harper can't play the field, though that'd leave Schwarber in the corner outfield spot. It might not be the top priority. Rotation depth and perhaps third base are bigger concerns. Third base is not a concern. Alec Boehm is a fucking Gold Glover. Go kick rocks. But it'd be viable if Harper can play defense there. And Phil's president of baseball operations, Dave Dombrowski, has never been afraid to push in for big names. I mean, Bellinger missed a month due to injury, but in 63 games, he slashed 308, 365, 523, 888, has 12 home runs and 35 RBIs. That'll play at Citizens Bank Park. Cody Bellinger would be beloved here. He has a mutual option on his contract for next year, too, so it's not exactly a rental. And if you can do a package for Bellinger and Stroman potentially, or you go call the White Sox and go get Dylan Cease, who I would absolutely love in this rotation. Like, those are your two priorities. Getting one of these bats either at first base or in the outfield, so if Harper can hold up at first base, and then you need to go get another starting pitcher, in my opinion. Andrew Painter's out for the year. He's getting Tommy John surgery now, so he's going to miss all of next year too, which is a bummer. Should have got the surgery in March, just saying. But when he comes back in 2025, he's still only going to be 22 years old. So that's not a massive, hit to his stock, in my opinion. I think in 2025 was the more viable option for him to be an everyday starter in the rotation to begin with. But now that that's out, Nola's been up and down this year. Wheeler's been up and down this year. You need to go get another starter in this rotation to really solidify it for that type of stretch run that you mentioned, from your late July through all of August. You need a core rotation in order to compete, to stay in this wild card hunt. You still have key games on your schedule against the Marlins, the Mets. You still play the Padres one more time this year. Like, you've got to have as much ammunition to go out there and compete against these teams in these most important times of the year to get ready for September and hopefully go on another World Series run.
And I mean, isn't that what you're looking for? It is a World Series run. You're trying to put that team back together, even in terms of the injuries and other problems that have kind of gone on this season. They're still in a pretty good position to do so. You know how I feel in terms of regular seasons and like how this stuff fares out. Playoffs are just a matter of getting there. I don't think there's like a surefire, the one beats the eight, that kind of thing. Like, you just got to get there, and then the best teams play their best teams play the best ball at the end of the season when they should. So that's my philosophy on that. I think they're doing a great job of putting themselves in a position to at least be in the playoffs so that they can play their best ball when they need to. But looking at the options, I think you almost have to force Bryce's hand and be like, look, you need to go to first base. Like, this isn't
which he's totally willing to do. I think it's just a more managerial / front office thing to make sure that he is good there so that no re-aggravation of the injury happens.
That's fair. But I mean, I just think it's also you come at him with that, but also kind of maybe you lead with how much it benefits the team,
which he knows. Like, Bryce is the one who volunteered this idea to begin with, which just shows you Bryce Harper's biggest fucking team guy on the planet. But that is such a huge thing, is just because he's never played first base before. So seeing proof that he can do it, I think, is the bigger question. Is like, can he play defensively at first base? I think Bryce Harper could, pick the world up and carry it on his back if you asked him to do it, because that's just the type of person he is. But is it realistic for, 2.5 months to have Bryce Harper playing a position that he's never played, and you kind of putting all your eggs in that basket without a true contingency plan behind him? I think that's a huge question that Dave Dombrowski has to answer too, is like, do I go and make a trade for a bench bet that's also a first baseman who can play defensively at first base and spell Bryce Harper there? That's going to be the true interesting part, I think, of this trade deadline, is how they approach the positions of need and where they go to potentially acquire those positions.
I think you stay away from first base because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. That's where Reese plays.
Yeah, and the soonest he can come back is the World Series.
Right. Not saying it's not a need this year, but I think you have pieces that can fill that need for now. And I would go and get an outfielder.
Unless it's Bellinger, like, who can play both. Like, that's the type of trades I think you need to make too, is guys who can play. If you're going like bat wise, you need guys who can play multiple positions, because the depth pieces this Phillies team has had between Josh Harrison, Derek Hall, you know, they have not been the best of the best in terms of just like what you've wanted from them production wise. Cody Clemens has performed well above the stratosphere I think anybody had for him, but he's also Cody Clemens. Like, he's gonna have those spells where he gets cold, and you need to have another person there. And right now, for whatever reason, the Phillies just don't have that. So you need to approach this trade deadline, I think, more meticulously than you did last year.
Absolutely. I think you have to go in knowing exactly what you want and who you want, and pretty much throw the kitchen sink at it and pray that it gets picked up. And if not, then you make adjustments moving around. Maybe you have a few backup trades that kind of can fulfill the need to a smaller extent, and kind of can just substitute, I guess, until you can figure something else out. But I think you go. I almost, when it comes to free agency and stuff, I'm almost a guy where you find one guy and you just throw absolutely everything at him. And you have a list of like other guys that aren't as highly touted as this person. And so you just go at this guy until they pick somewhere. And if they don't pick you, then you kind of go with these other guys, and you have some things to throw at them. But trade deadline is the same thing. Like, I think you pick one person and you really go at one team, and you just keep throwing different combinations until they say yes. And I just think that's the best way to go about it, instead of trying to shop the market and look for what you can get by. Go for what you want.
And that's the thing too. Like, there's so many teams that are still in contention right now that like the trade deadline is going to be competitive. So you have to have options lined up across the board, because some of these other teams that are ahead of you, even in the American League, have more to offer to, say, a Chicago White Sox, for a Dylan Cease, for a Lucas Giolito. You know, you look at the Orioles, you look at the Yankees, who, even though the Yankees are in last place, like, they're fighting for a wild card spot. You look at a team like Tampa Bay, who they're having an unbelievable year. This might be the year they finally splurge and trade some of these prospects for a big name to add to that lineup. You look at Toronto, you look at the Dodgers, you look at the Diamondbacks, the Giants are in the mix, the Marlins, the Reds. Like, there's so many teams that are still fighting for playoff spots that, like, it's going to be a competitive trade deadline. But also, you look at the teams that are kind of dead in the water and out of it. The Mets, the Cardinals, the Pirates, the Nationals, the Rockies in the National League, the A's, Kansas City, the White Sox. And depending on how they play over the next 10 to 12 games, could go one way or another for your Detroit Tigers. They could either be in the mix for the division title, or they could be sellers. So they're kind of on the fence right now. But there's so many teams still in the mix in the American League too, that like all these teams are going to be calling for players, and it's such a small pool now, because you have pretty much half the league fighting for a playoff spot. So you're going to have to be competitive. You're going to have to be smart with the decisions you make, and I think you have to have probably an A tier, a B tier, and a C tier setup of trade deadline targets, and decide where you want to throw your darts at the dartboard, that are going to be the smartest for you, not only for this year, but in the long term too. When you're trading prospects, when you're trading players away, you need to make sure that it's not going to set you up for failure down the line as well. But I mean, from what Dave Dombrowski has done since he's been here, I trust him 110% to get players on this team that will improve this Phillies roster for the important parts of the season and make them a competitor going into the postseason.
Yeah, I don't know who the Phillies have most in mind, and then kind of who's ahead of them in terms of what they have to offer that person. Um, but man, they in my opinion they have some serious options out there that can really help, and they're in a position right now where they're in the wild card. Um, so you want to at least, in my opinion, they should make at least a move. And even if they make one and shuffle the team around, I think they're in a better position than they are now. And they can start to really polish their machine in terms of getting back to the World Series.
Yeah, and I mean, they clearly have to make a move, and I'm gonna let everybody in on a secret right now. Shohei Ohtani's not coming to the Phillies. He's not getting traded. Nolan Arenado is not getting traded to the Phillies. Paul Goldschmidt is not getting traded to the Phillies. So take those all off of your board because they're not going to happen. They are the most lunatic, on a different planet type of trades and trade proposals that I've seen. Like, I got to read this one to you because you will laugh your ass off at this. So I will preface who some of these players are for you, since some of them are prospects. Trade package for Shohei Ohtani from the Phillies, who could. This is a total fake tweet. Breaking: Angels outfielder Shohei. The funny part is Shohei's not an outfielder. He's a fucking DH and a pitcher.
He's just
Ohtani.
a baseball. He's a baseball player.
Yeah, he's an athlete.
Yes, baseball athlete.
Could be traded to the Philadelphia Phillies as early as this weekend. Trade package discussed. Alec Boehm, Andrew Painter, who's injured and needs Tommy John surgery, Justin Crawford, Ranger Suarez, and Mick Abel, who is our number 2 pitching prospect behind Painter. I'm told that this is currently the best offer that LA Angels has received. And I'll tell everybody this. You know who per sources. Just trust me, dog. That's one of those tweets. Like, no, like even that type of trade package where you have 3 of your top prospects involved, you have Alec Boehm, who's young, Ranger Suarez, that's still not enough for Shohei Ohtani. Like, that's not going to get a deal done. It's crazy to even hypothetically think about a trade package for Ohtani. It's not going to happen. You're not going to trade for Goldschmidt. You're not going to trade for Arenado. They're both older. They're both owed tons of money. You're not going to do that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. A guy like Cody Bellinger makes a ton of sense. A guy like, even though I'm not the biggest fan of that proposal, a guy like Tommy Pham from the Mets makes a ton of sense for the Phillies. A guy like Hunter Renfroe from the Angels makes a ton of sense for the Phillies. Those are the types of guys that Phillies fans should be looking at in terms of, bats coming in. For this team, a guy like Brandon Drury makes a ton of sense for the Phillies for an infield perspective. So those are the types of players you should be keeping an eye on. Pitching-wise, though, I think it's wide open. Like, the pitchers that the Phillies could go out and acquire could be literally anybody from Stroman to Dylan Cease, Lucas Giolito, Lance Lynn, bullpen-wise, Carlos Estevez from the Angels is a guy I would really love on this team. You look at the Colorado Rockies, Herman Marquez potentially. You look at some of the pitchers from Pittsburgh. You look at a Jordan Montgomery from St. Louis, Jack Flaherty, even though I wouldn't be the biggest fan of him coming to the Phillies because of his injury history. That's another name to look out for. There's tons of potential here. And I mean, if Cleveland continues to skyfall, Shane Bieber's a name to keep an eye on. Like, the pitching market is going to be the most fascinating. And not that I think they're going to come to Philly, because I don't think the Mets would send these guys there. You also got to look at Scherzer and Verlander. They're older. The Mets are skyfalling and pretty much out of it at this point. You want to unload those contracts to a team that's in contention. That's 2 guys that bigger market teams like the Dodgers, like, you know, the Texas Rangers, the Astros, like, could be potentially trading for, which opens up more opportunity for you to go and get a Giolito, a Cease, a Stroman, or something like that. So the pitching market's going to be interesting and fascinating to watch as the trade deadline gets closer. I can't wait. I love the baseball trade deadline, especially when it's active. Like, it is easily the best trade deadline, I think, in the 4 major sports, with basketball right there. But with baseball, it's so much more fun because there's no salary cap that you have to match. It's just players and prospects and all this kind of stuff moving around, and, you know, everybody's waiting for that 4 o'clock deadline to hit and watching to see if the fax machine went through before the 4 o'clock deadline. Like, I love the baseball trade deadline.
I mean, it's a lot of fun. And watching, like you said, with baseball, there's no salary cap. So it's really just a matter of owners, players, agents, all like getting together and just finding what works. And sometimes it just amazes you that a team goes after someone.
Yes.
And you're like, no way did they spend their time and money on this guy. Or somebody signed somewhere that you're not expecting them to. And you're like, what? Are they throwing their career away? Like, there's just so
like, if
much.
it does happen, the internet might break if Shohei gets traded.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'll be the most
that is going to be
thing.
an all-time day online.
Yes. And I'm glad that I'm here for it.
It's going to be insane.
If anybody wants to make a fan out of me, put Verlander on your team. I'll just say that. That was like the height of the Tigers that I can remember.
I don't know if he'll get traded this year just because he's in year 1 of that new deal, but if I'm the Mets, like, you're out of it. Like, recoup as much as you can for these old guys that you tried to go all in with.
Yeah.
And I hate the Mets, so I hate giving them advice, but if I was the Mets owner, multi-billionaire Steve Cohen, that's what I would do. Deej, let's get into the NL East and MLB run differential game. It's brought to you by our friends over at Wasted Wedge. A new age of golf has arrived, everyone, and if you're looking to be the talk and envy of your group and create memories with your friends and family, look no further than the lineup of Wasted Wedge products and merchandise. Casey texted me the other day, said they ordered one, and it came within a 2-day period. So the shipping is quick, the product is elite. They're a blast to drink shots out of on and off the course, and you guys can check them out at wastedwedge.com or find them on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads at Wasted Wedge. That's wastedwedge.com or on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. Be sure to follow them at Wasted Wedge. Remember that name, wastedwedge.com. Deej, let's get into it. As we do, it is the NL East run differential to kick things off. I'll read you the team. I'll give you their record. I'll give you their runs scored. You just have to determine what the run differential is looking like. I'll give you this hint, too, as I give to our good pal Pat Pitts. There are 2 teams in the NL East that have positive run differentials. Everyone else is negative. So we'll start with the first place, Atlanta Braves. They're 62-33. They have scored 537 runs so far this season. Where do you think their run differential is sitting at?
Plus 72.
I'm going to have to ask you to do a little more addition because their run differential is plus 145. They are slapping the ball around. Scoring runs left and right. And that's a big reason why they're almost 30 games over 500.
Yeah. Jesus.
But they keep losing games. The second place, that's right, everybody. The second place Philadelphia Phillies at 52-44 have scored 433 runs this season, the second most in the division. Where do you have the Fightin' Phils run differential, Deej?
Plus 34.
I wish it was that. It's plus 7. Plus 7. But it's positive. We're staying in the positives, and that's what matters. That's what matters.
I'm getting closer.
Exactly. Then we move to the dumbest team in all of baseball, the 53-45 Miami Marlins, who have lost 6 in a row, thankfully. They've scored 407 runs this year, which is the second fewest in the division. Now, I mentioned there were only 2 teams with positive run differentials. We've checked those boxes already. So, Deej, the 53-45 Miami Marlins, where do you have their run differential?
-27.
It might as well be. -17 for a team that is that many games over 500 is ridiculous.
I was close. 10 off. Not bad.
But the last time I checked, they are a major league best in 1-run games this season. So they are just playing above expectation in all facets because I'm going to give you their expected win-loss. They're 53-45 this year. The way they're playing and the way they're scoring and giving up runs, they should be in their expected win-loss category 47-51.
Wow.
Playing well above expectation. Thankfully, they've lost 6 straight, so they're coming back down to earth a bit. But let's move on to the Lowell New York Mets. 45-51 on the season. 7 games out of a wild card spot. They've scored 426 runs this year, which is the 3rd most in the division. Where do you have their run differential?
-22.
I wish, but I'm going to have you cut in half. It's -11, which is still hilarious because it's always Lowell Mets around here. Then moving to the basement, the stolen franchise Washington Nationals at 38-58. They've scored 403 runs this year. So to put that in perspective, the Nationals are 20 games under 500 and have scored 4 fewer runs than the 53-45 Miami Marlins. Because baseball. Where do you have the Nationals' run differential?
-19.
Well, Deej, when you're 20 games under 500, you give up a lot of runs. They're at -105.
Yikes.
Now we'll make
Way
our way
too
around. Make our way around baseball. The worst run differential in the National League belongs to the Colorado Rockies at -146. Everyone else in the NL West has a positive run differential of 20 or more. Then we move to the stupidest division in the National League. It's the NL Central, where only one team has a positive run differential, and it's not the team in first place. It's the 3rd place 45-50 Chicago Cubs, who have a +38 run differential.
So
Everyone
weird.
else is negative.
So weird. That division is so weird.
First place Brewers at -3. 52-46 Reds at -12. Dumb division.
Such a weird division.
But nothing is weirder than the American League Central.
Hey, whoa.
Because the first place Minnesota Twins, who are 50-48, just 2 games over 500, have a +36 run differential. The 47-49 Cleveland Guardians have a 0 run differential. And then we just free fall. The 44-52 your Detroit Tigers, who are still in the mix. They're only 5 games out of first place. Have a -77 run differential. The 41-57 Chicago White Sox have a -69 nice run differential. And then the Kansas City Royals, 28-70, have a -162 run differential, which is not the worst in all of baseball. I'm going to have you predict the Oakland A's run differential, Deej. They're the worst in baseball at 27-71. They have given up the most runs in baseball by a wide margin at 609 runs surrendered. What do you have their run differential at?
-217.
You are pretty fucking close, my friend. -256 is the answer.
I tried to give them a little leeway.
Ridiculous. Everyone
That's
else
so
in that
bad.
division is in the positives, including the first place Texas Rangers, who I believe have the best run differential in all of baseball, plus 166. And then everybody in the AL East has a positive run differential, including the Tampa Bay Rays, who have been jumped by the Baltimore Orioles for first place in the AL East. But the Rays, plus 145 run differential to the Orioles, plus 47. Run differential is great. I've been seeing run differential tweets popping up on the timeline more and more. Just letting everybody know, Matt and I started calculating run differential as a true blue stat in baseball that should be accounted for over 2 years ago. So you're welcome. We normalized it, and now all the big talking head baseball pundits are talking about it because it truly shows how good or bad your team is unless you play in the Central Division in the American or National League.
That's not true. We're not good. And we have a negative 77 run differential to show it.
Cubs are 5 games under 500, and they have a plus 38. It's weird.
That just means that they're losing really bad when they're losing and not winning by a lot when they're winning. That's all that means.
Cleveland's 2 games under 500, and they're at 0. I feel like holes. 0!
Hey, listen, that doesn't make sense, because should they be 500?
Exactly. 2 games over 500 for the Twins, and they're plus 36. Like, play better. Get a grip.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Hey, all I'm saying is my Tigers just need to win the division. That's our best chance at making the playoffs.
Just win. Just go on a tear. Imagine they go on a tear and take over the division lead and get it.
You should see me. You should see me when I get the scoreboard notice and they're winning. I'm like, yeah, yes, another Tigers dub. Let's go. Or I look down and I'm like, no way, the Tigers won again? One of the 2 reactions. There's no in between.
Oh, it's great.
Then there's the third of another Tigers out.
That's hilarious. So there it is. That is your run differentials across the entire major leagues and the NL East, brought to you by our friends over at Wasted Wedge. Let's go from the diamond to the gridiron. Deej, it's brought to you by our friends over at Trophy Smack. Guys, Trophy Smack, there's no better way to upgrade your fantasy smack talk than with our friends over at Trophy Smack. Fantasy football season, believe it or not, it's right around the corner, which is disgusting to think about because I don't want my summer rushed. But you got to upgrade your fantasy smack talk. Our friends at Trophy Smack have rings, belts, obviously trophies, metal wall art. They just released a banner flag that says fantasy football loser on it. Like, you can get last place punishments for your league. Go to trophysmack.com/underground and upgrade your fantasy smack talk today. That's trophysmack.com/underground to upgrade your fantasy smack talk. Deej, let's get into this. We've done one of these baseball wise with Mr. Patty Pitts. We're going to do what they call the old immaculate grid, football style. We've got a football immaculate grid now. We're going to do it live on the screen here, so if you're not watching on YouTube, we highly recommend you do, because you'll be able to see the grid, and you won't just have to hear Deej and I talk about working our way through filling out this grid perfectly. So if you're not watching, here's your grid. Going across the top, it's the San Francisco 49ers, the Minnesota Vikings, and then a 1,000-plus yard receiving season, and then going vertically, it is the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Atlanta Falcons. I have a couple of these already off the dome.
Did A.J. Brown have 1,000 yards this season?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Great call. A.J. Brown, how you doing? Shout out to the Titans.
Travis Kelce.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Julio Jones.
Yeah, he had to have had one. I was going to say Roddy White.
Oh, yeah, he works too. I forgot about him low-key.
Eagles, Vikings is obviously Donovan McNabb.
Yep.
That's an easy one. Falcons, Vikings, Cordero Patterson.
Yes.
Eagles, 49ers, Terrell Owens.
Ooh, I forgot about T.O. God.
That's funny that T.O. and McNabb are next to each other.
And they don't have pictures for whatever
I know.
reason.
Falcons,
49ers.
49ers. Chiefs, Vikings, Jared Allen. I'll never forget when he was on Sunday Night Football and introduced his school as the culinary school he went to.
Chiefs and 49ers.
And Falcons, 49ers.
There's Steve Young.
Falcons, 49ers, Deion Sanders.
That's what I thought, but I don't know why I thought I was tripping.
Bang.
I don't know why. Like, that came to my mind, and I'm like, no, he played for somebody else.
Chiefs, 49ers, Joe Montana.
Okay. See, I was thinking of Steve Young, but Joe Montana is who came to mind.
Boom.
It should have, yeah. Look at us.
Look at
Too
us.
easy.
Too
easy.
Easy dub. Let's see. Possible answers. I like this. So possible answers for Eagles 49ers. There's 92 players. That's crazy. Jeff Garcia, David Akers.
We can't see the list. You can. That's
yeah,
fine.
I'm just scrolling through.
But, man.
Seeing if there's any notable ones. Michael Lewis, Jordan Matthews. And then there was 72 possible for Vikings, Eagles, 16 for the Eagles, and 1,000-yard receiving. I wonder who was in there. That's a low number. All right, so your 1,000-yard receivers in Eagles history, there's actually 26 of them. A.J. Brown, who had the most receiving yards in a single season in Eagles history last year. Devontae Smith, Zach Ertz, Jeremy Maclin, Deshaun Jackson did it 3 times. Kevin Curtis did it in 2007, legend. T.O., Irving Fryer did it twice. Fred Barnett did it twice. Mike Quick did it 3 times. Harold Carmichael did it 3 times. Harold Jackson did it twice. Ben Hawkins in 1967. Pete Retzlaff did it. Tommy McDonald did it twice. And then Pete Pihos did it. That's the impressive part here. Here's the impressive part. Deshaun Jackson did it in 2010 in 14 games. He had 1,000 yards. And he did it in 15 games in 2009. T.O. did it in 14 games in 2004 and had 1,200 yards. Mike Quick did it in 14 games because that's when it was a 14-game season.
That's crazy.
Harold Carmichael and Harold Jackson, Ben Hawkins, Pete Retzlaff, Tommy McDonald all did it in 14 games. And then Pete Pihos did it in 12 games. He had 1,000 receiving yards.
That is
wild.
Great. 12. That's 100 yards game.
That's crazy. There were 11 Kansas City Chiefs who have 1,000-yard receiving season, and then 14 Atlanta Falcons.
Tony Gonzalez is probably one of them.
Oh, has to be.
On both those teams.
On both. Let's see. Tyreek Hill definitely did it for the Chiefs. Yeah, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. Jeremy Maclin did it for the Chiefs in 2015.
Wow.
I'm going to give you a blast from the past. Dwayne Bowe did it 3 times for the Chiefs. Eddie Kennison did it in 2005 for the Chiefs. Derek Alexander, Andre Risson, Stephon Page, Carlos Carson, and Otis Taylor. Those are all your Chiefs.
No Tony Gonzalez.
Oh, no, he did it.
Oh, okay.
He did it.
I was gonna say
1, 2, 3. 3 times. 4 times. 2000, 2004, 2007, 2008. And then Atlanta Falcons, Kyle Pitts in 2021. Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones did it a shit ton of times. Harry Douglas in 2013 did it. Roddy White, Terrence Mathis, Tony Martin, Burt Emanuel, Eric Metcalf, Andre Risson, Michael Haynes, Stacey Bailey, Alfred Jenkins, and Wallace Francis. That's wild. So there you go.
You did a good job on that.
We're too nice with the immaculate grid. We're too nice.
Proud of us.
Look at us. Who would have thought? We did. That's it.
Who would have thought?
I did my baseball one today, and I got one of the players that was 0.2% used. I was like, I'm so Phillies pilled.
You're such a sicko. just sick.
On his Instagram, he kind of teased that he's potentially retiring. Deshaun Jackson.
No, he did not.
He did.
That was not. He came out and said it was not a retirement. You'll know when he's gonna retire.
I don't know.
Pipe down. Pipe down.
No, but
no, pipe down. Pipe down.
In the grand scheme of all things, I love D-Jack. He's one of my favorite players ever. From an outside perspective looking in, is Deshaun Jackson a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Like, he has multiple NFL records. If you're a record holder in the NFL in multiple categories, you have to be in the Hall of Fame.
And there was just a point, there was just a time where he was one of the top 5 most electric receivers in the NFL. Like, that almost makes you a Hall of Famer already. Like, to be electric as a wide receiver, you have to make plays. To make plays, you get yards, you score touchdowns, you make catches. Like, so your stats are naturally going to go up if you're an exciting receiver. And that's what he was. He was arguably the most exciting receiver for a 3 or 4 year span. Every time he went down the field, he was wide open, and everybody went, how does that happen? And
He's
then
got two of the most iconic plays in NFL history.
And he has his kick returns.
Right. Like, I think he gets forgotten as a returner.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Which he had the crazy one where the Giants shouldn't have kicked it to him, and they did anyway.
Miracle at the Meadowlands. Technically part 3, but it was announced as part 2. And then the other iconic NFL play that he has is that first Chip Kelly game on Monday Night Football against Washington, where he just beats the defense and Michael Vick heaves it to him, and the Eagles score on the opening drive of the Chip Kelly era. Like, those are 2 of the most iconic and most memorable plays in NFL history, in my book, at least in my lifetime. Like, those are moments that I'll never forget. And, like, Deshaun is just that dude. I love him so much. And I was laughing when people were tweeting about him potentially retiring and listing off all the teams he played for. I'm like, no. He's just an Eagle. Let's not talk about when he had to go to Washington. Let's not talk about Tampa Bay. Get all that Ravens and Raiders nonsense out of here too. Get out of here, Eagles. Also, Deshaun Jackson is in Eagles history iconic because I'm gonna list this off for you, Deej, and your mind's gonna be blown. Deshaun Jackson has caught a touchdown pass from the following quarterbacks in Eagles history. You ready for this? Donovan McNabb, Kevin Kolb, Nick Foles, Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts.
Wait, what?
Deshaun Jackson, in his Eagles tenure, has caught touchdown passes from the following quarterbacks: Donovan McNabb, Kevin Kolb, Nick Foles, Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts.
So, like, everybody.
From 1999 to 2023, Eagles quarterbacks.
He's literally caught a touchdown from every Eagles quarterback in my lifetime.
He caught a touchdown from every Eagles quarterback that played for the Eagles in his career, pretty much.
in my lifetime. Literally in my lifetime.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot one. Michael Vick. Obviously.
In my lifetime. I was born in 99. He has literally owned.
Sean got drafted in 2008, so he caught a touchdown pass from McNabb, Kevin Cobb, Michael Vick, Nick Foles, Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts. The only one he missed was Sam Bradford for one season because he was in Washington.
Oh, I forgot you guys did that to yourselves.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one, but it set us up to get Carson Wentz and then set us up to win a Super Bowl.
And this is
set us up for Jalen Hurts.
This is why they say Jalen Hurts is an Oklahoma quarterback. Because Oklahoma quarterbacks don't do well in the league. Find me one.
He's proven it wrong.
Find me one. He's not. They don't call him an Oklahoma quarterback. They call him an Alabama quarterback. So find me an Oklahoma quarterback that does well in the NFL.
I don't even know. See, I don't know college football like that.
They're not good anyway. The most notable ones are Sam Bradford and Kyler Murray.
Kyler's been okay.
Yeah.
Not great, but he's been okay. I'm just in my lifetime of.
We can say okay.
Kyler's definitely the best. Who's like a true Oklahoma quarterback? Since like ever.
Told you.
Not including Jalen Hurts, obviously, because Jalen is better. Baker had like a year, but that was it. It's also very funny that the Buccaneers promotional for the new uniforms was Baker Mayfield. Man, they had some gross quarterbacks at Oklahoma. Bradford to Landry Jones. That's a shame that somebody named Trevor Knight couldn't work out as a quarterback. That's because you have a wide receiver name, buddy.
Bingo. You should be catching balls, not throwing them.
Man, that's gross. Speaking of Baker Mayfield and these jerseys, more football content. We've gotten new jersey reveals, and the Eagles one is probably shortly on the way with the Kelly Greens, which everyone's going to lose their minds and everything. The Kelly Greens are fine. Like, they're cool. They're vintage. I'm not going to lose my mind about them. They breed an era of losing where the Eagles have won and gone to multiple Super Bowls in the current iteration of the Eagles jersey, so I am a true fan of those. But, Deej, we've gotten new jersey releases over the past few weeks, including a few today. So I figured we could tier rank some of these. Now, the ones we've gotten, I'll pull them up here so we have them. So today we got the new Colts jersey. That's not exactly a throwback, but it's a new jersey that they're wearing. Did you see that one?
Yes.
They got the back the blue ones.
I'm screaming.
The Hoorah Hoosiers, baby.
Those things look so bad. Somebody was like, they look like a team finna get ready to play an All-American.
I hate that they put that C with the Indiana thing on there because it's in the same spot as the captain's patch. What are we doing? We've gotten that. We've gotten the new Seahawks throwbacks. We have gotten a tease to the Tennessee Titans Oilers throwbacks that should be coming out this week. They posted a hype video of just oil pouring on a Titans jersey. The Eagles throwbacks are on the way. We got the Creamsicle Bucks jerseys. We got, what else did we get announced? There was another one. Oh, the most boring and plain, didn't even look like a throwback or switch up Minnesota Vikings. And then we also got the Browns' new like whiteout uniforms that they'll be wearing. Also, the Browns having a deal, no free ads, no free shoutouts. The Browns having an ad deal with Dude Wipes is hilarious.
It is. It's like perfect.
It's two on the nose.
They're brown. They stink.
So we have in terms of new uniforms that have been released, we have the Browns whiteouts, we have the Buccaneers creamsicles, the Seahawks throwbacks, the Vikings classics is what they're calling them, which they don't look any different to me from the photos I've seen. We have the Colts as well. From best to worst, how are you ranking these jerseys?
From best to worst. I think creamsicle is number one. I think that's the top. There's something about the bright orange that goes with the red and the white that just looks really clean. I think I like the Seahawks next as well. It reminds me a lot of old school Atlanta Hawks as well. I'm a very big fan of Shades of Blue. Very big fan of Shades of Blue. Looking through it some. I think Browns next. I think there's something about all white that just looks clean, especially when you look at some of their other jerseys. I just think this is one of the cleaner looks they've had in a long time. As painful as this is to say, the Vikings are definitely not the worst on this list. So I put them 4. Not too much different than what they have on every day. And I don't really like purple, but the god awful Colts jerseys, I can't. These things are so bad. They're definitely the worst we've seen so far.
I think I have to go Seahawks 1, even though in their promotional video everything was great about it, except these are their 90s basically throwback uniforms. Okay, did you see the promotional video that they put out to announce the jerseys? Great video, great set, everything was fantastic. The only issue I have, they used Jackson Smith-Njigba as the player in the video for a promotional video about 90s throwbacks.
Wait, were they the ones that had like the whole set with like the throwback like TV and
like
everything?
The bedroom and TV and everything. Yeah.
I saw like the start of that, but I didn't like watch it.
Jackson Smith-Njigba was born in 2002.
Yeah, but they got to promote the rookie somehow.
That's the only part that I was like, we were so close. Jackson never lived this life. It's like, you could have used Bobby Wagner. He's back. Could have used DK Metcalf.
No.
Use the one kid that was born not in the 90s for your 90s throwbacks. Love those jerseys, though. They look even better than I could have even imagined. The way they came out, the blue and that green look so good together, and then those silver helmets look great. So Seahawks are number 1 for me. Number 2, probably have to go with the Bucks, even though the pictures that they used did not look that great for them. Like, they didn't like pop to me. They looked very like matte, and I was like, I was kind of disappointed by just the visuals. But I'm sure they'll look great on the field. Number 3. You know I hate white uniforms, but number 3, I got to go with the Browns. Number 4, I'm going to go with the Hoorah Hoosiers. Because I will say, even though the jersey's kind of wonky, I do like the black helmet. And then the number 5, because it's like, what changed? I can't tell a difference between that or that, this or that, is the Vikings. It just looks like their normal jersey to me. I don't know what changed about them. Nothing looks different. It's like they went
color.
one shade of purple to the left on the color swatch.
And changed the fabric. Yeah. Like that's
does nothing for me. I'm excited to see the Oilers.
They moved some of like the logos, but like
does nothing for me. I'm excited to see the Oilers. I'm excited to see the Eagles. We obviously already have like the Dolphins throwbacks are beautiful. I think those are some of the best throwback uniforms in all sports.
I like the Patriots.
The Patriots are good.
The Denver Broncos should drop
Denver
one. Good one. That one should be good.
Trying to think of other teams that have the Cardinals' new uniforms that they released are god awful.
The Packers are going to do a throwback and it's going to make me throw up.
The Bengals whiteouts are good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of those. I don't know why everybody gushes over the Cowboys throwbacks that they typically wear on Thanksgiving. They're so mid and boring. The Giants throwbacks are mid and boring.
Jets.
The Jets apparently have a throwback coming too with the actual like jet logo, which I'm intrigued to see. Trying to think of other teams that have throwbacks out. The Rams' new uniforms do nothing for me that they created when they went to LA. The numbers look like the like gel frosting you put on a cake. But yeah, let us know in the YouTube comment section your favorite jersey unveiling so far and which ones you're looking forward to.
And why the creamsicle is the best so far.
Or if you're a fan of the Seahawks one. Or if you're just waiting for the Eagles one to get released, because we all know that one's going to be the best one, let us know.
There we go. Kelly Green.
It drives me nuts that people just like lose their minds over Kelly Green. Like, it's nice. It's great, like, merch and everything. But the people that just, like, clamor hand and fist, like, we need to go back to the Kelly Greens. We need to go back to an era of losing, you buffoons. Like, get the fuck out of my face. We won nothing in Kelly Green.
They don't care.
Kelly Green is the era that defined loserdom. And that's not even a word, but I'm making it one in Eagles history. Like, we won nothing in Kelly Green. And I also don't know if it's because, like, I'm a 90s baby and, like, I didn't experience Kelly Green at all. So it's like it has no sentimental value to me either. It just looks cool. Give me the current iteration of Eagles Green. Give me the blackout uniforms for the Eagles every day and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, it's like the Pistons need to make a full change back to their old colorway. They brought the teal back. They just go back to the red and the white and just wear that color.
Mm-hmm.
Something. Maybe that's like...
Too many teams in basketball adopted the red, white, and blue colorway, and it's gross.
Maybe people are just saying that, like, in that same stance point. Like, as, like, somebody who didn't really grow up watching that era of the Pistons, those jerseys looked the best. I mean, they were good, so, like, that helped. But, like, maybe people are just in that point, like, we're already good, so let's just bring the aesthetic back so that, like, we can make this aesthetic good. Like, some people really just want their team to look good, and I think that's kind of what it is. Like, I could care, like, how people feel the colors, like, bring bad. Like, I just want my team to look good. And I think that's where a lot of the Kelly Green comes from, is, like, people think that's when they look the best. Although I think the all-black is sick.
Wow. That's one of the best blackout uniforms in all sports. So good.
Very, very good.
Like, the fact that the Pistons and the Wizards went to, like, red, white, and blue, like, the Wizards don't even have, like, a Wizard logo anymore, like, bad. Just bad. You wonder why they didn't win anything with John Wall and Bradley Beal.
Well, the Pistons were already red, white, and blue. They actually, like, that's what they started with. And they switched it up and went to the teal and like darker red colorway, and like people loved it, and then they went back away from it.
And the fact that they like eliminated for the longest time the actual piston logo, and it's just like fucking volleyball.
I mean, it is still eliminated. Like they only use it when they wear the throwbacks. Like they need to bring that logo back, and then bring that jersey color like theme back as well. Like that's just what the Pistons need right now.
That's how we'll know nature is healing.
Yeah, yeah. And that's how we know that team's going to be ready to be good again, is when they bring that colorway back fully.
I'm also so sick and tired of the Sixers discourse on my Twitter timeline. It's brought to you by our friends at Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. You guys can go to tomahawkshades.com, fill up your cart, get your sunglasses, your blue light glasses, prescription lenses, everything in between. And when you go to checkout, use promo code USP for 25% off your order at tomahawkshades.com. That's tomahawkshades.com, promo code USP for 25% off at checkout. Joshua Harris officially the new owner of the Washington Commanders. He's totally locked in, Deej. Really concerned about a successful basketball team on the court because, you know, when you own the 76ers, the New Jersey Devils, and the Washington Commanders, you're all in on bringing a fan base together. What a dynamic trio of fandom, the Sixers, Devils, and Commanders. The Joel Embiid comments thing, I'm so sick of that discourse where he was like, I want to win a championship, whether it's in Philly or anywhere else. I don't care. Like, he went on Twitter and went back to his antics. Like, read my middle name. Troel is his middle name on Twitter. Like, I don't care about these comments. It is July. I don't care about basketball right now. The Sixers are so far out of my zeitgeist in terms of, like, me giving energy to them. I don't care. Like, they'll exist when I'm ready for them to exist. And my expectations for them are ground zero because they have not given me any reason to believe that they deserve expectations. I'm not worried about them. The people that are, like, it's getting to the point where people talking about the Sixers on my timeline, Deej, it's getting to those annoying levels of, like, football fandom where people are talking about football in, like, May when there's nothing to talk about, but they're trying to create conversation because that's all they know. And I'm just like, I need to mute you. Like, I'm so sick and tired of the off-season Sixers discourse in fucking July. There's a baseball team that's thriving right now. We're a couple weeks out of training camp for a team that just went to the Super Bowl. You have a soccer team that's performing extremely well that's currently at the All-Star break, but still, they're in third place in the Eastern Conference. Can we not be so hyper-fixated? That is one thing that drives me nuts about some of these people online. They hyper-fixate on one topic, and it makes me want to just laser etch my brain.
I mean, but what else? That's the joy of the internet. People are like, oh, I can just, like, hammer away at this one thing, and, like, then people agree with me, or, like, then people pay attention to it. And it's like, that's not how this works. It's not how the internet works either. And I do think it's kind of way too early to even panic about anything with the 76ers. Like, give Nick Nurse his time to come in and, like, set up his camp and ask for certain things and give the front office time to make it happen. Like, there's a process to these things, and I think people are, like, rushing everything.
I see what you did there. Process. Yeah, like, I do not care about basketball stuff and roster construction in July for a sport that does not start in my brain until December. So, not concerned. We talked about it when the news dropped a couple weeks ago. Are you excited for the in-season tournament for the NBA?
Maybe. I don't know.
Your Pistons and my Sixers are in the same group.
It's just weird. I don't know what kind of incentive there really is for it.
I think it's cool. Like, when I read all the details about it, it's like it's still the regular season games. It's just on Tuesdays and Fridays from this day in November to this day in December are tournament games. So there's, like, elevated purpose to them. and then for the reason of the tournament, like if you win your group, you advance to the knockout round of the tournament and everything, and then December 9th to the 11th in Vegas is the semifinal and the final, and the players on those teams get a monetary incentive. You win the NBA Cup. It's very similar to like what soccer does with Champions League, just on a much lower degree because soccer has the history of it all. And for people that know us, it's very much like the Championship Series, just the Championship Series and the PLLs in the offseason. It's the NBA's way, because like I said, NBA in my brain doesn't turn on until at the earliest December. It's the NBA's way of making those games in October to Christmas mean something. So that people are just like, oh, the NBA doesn't start until Christmas. That's what they're
it doesn't. It doesn't.
But that's what they're trying to do with this, is like...
And it still won't, because the players aren't going to make enough money off that incentive, and they're not going to care enough to treat those games like they mean something.
I don't know. NBA players are weird. In a sense that, like...
I'm just saying, how much money do you think they're going to make off that, though?
I don't know if
that little bonus. Like, there's no way they're cutting, like, a big check to these guys for winning this new in-season tournament. Like... It's like probably like $250K.
So each player on the winning team takes home $500,000, and then players on the second place team each get $200K, and then players on the losing semifinal teams will get $100K each, and the quarterfinalists get $50K each.
See, like some of that is like game day pay for most of these guys. The winning team, like,
that's kind of nice.
Argue.
Get a nice little $500,000 check,
extra, right? But like after that, it's
season.
But it's
right around Christmas time. That's your gifts.
Man, it gifts been bought. They wife or their girlfriend been bought everybody gifts.
Not the 13th player on the bench though.
They still got more money than me and you.
This is just the hypothetical. Like, if the Sixers win, Montrezl Harrell got his Christmas gifts covered.
I mean, his Christmas gifts is covered. He got more money than me and you combined. Still, he been paying Christmas gifts.
He getting a not play coach's decision.
Now his send the family on a vacation for Christmas. Now that is now covered. The gifts are already covered.
Maz is sending all the gifts to Turkey and his family.
Yeah,
Philip Petrusev coming over. He's about to send his whole family. He's going to buy his family a yacht.
You know how quick Jokic is going to make it back to Serbia with that money?
Jokic about to buy another horse. What you mean? He's going to buy a horse that can walk on water so he can get to Serbia quicker.
You know how many pairs of shoes PJ Tucker is going to buy with that much money? Do you know how many pairs of shoes that man is going to have? If he gets a $500,000 check.
That's the one.
That's the one right there. If you know, you know. And if you don't know,
how many tacos LeBron going to buy if the Lakers win?
Right?
Man.
How many adult film stars?
Do you know how many? Do you know how many dancers are going to get paid if the Sixers win and James Harden is still on this roster?
You know how many of Zion Williamson's baby mamas are going to be paid off?
They ain't going to get paid off. They're going to get flown out. We just got to make sure. Well, he'll be suspended, so he can't get the money. But that's a good thing. So Ja can't buy any more guns.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
See, Adam Silver was thinking ahead, and suspending Ja for 25 games eliminates him from playing in the in-season tournament.
Smart man.
That's playing 4D chess. Did you see the tweet, too? You're going to laugh at this.
I don't think so.
Fred VanVleet is wearing number 5 for the Rockets. Someone said, I need this to have a deeper meaning, like the 6 lost a real one. I said, if that ain't a Drake lyric, I don't know what is.
It is gonna be. Man, that boy Fred left the 6 and put on 5. We lost the real one.
I'm screaming.
I can't wait to hear that in the song.
You know how many fat
know,
suits James Harden's gonna buy with this $500K?
not a fat suit. I'm screaming.
It's crazy. Shall we get to the new fun ending segment? It's brought to you by our friends over at Kenwood Beer. It's Brink, Bonk, Bump. Guys, Kenwood Beer now available in Pittsburgh. So not just in Philadelphia, now going across the state. The Gold Top Kenny's now available for the Yinzers. Shout out to my boy Wes Euler. Smooth, clean, and bright with taste to boot. Kenny's the routine choice of folks who want a balanced, flavorful, no-frills beer that's right for any occasion. Some call it the best light beer they've ever had. We just say you can't beat the original. 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. Go to kenwoodbeer.com. Use the all-new and improved Kenny tracker. See who's got Kenny's on tap all across Pennsylvania. See where you can buy it at your local Philadelphia area liquor stores. Check out their merch as well. kenwoodbeer.com. Got to be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. Deej, it's Brink, Bonk, Bump. I gave you kind of a premise here. So Brink, who was money this week, could be anybody of your choice. Bonk is who's horny, who's got to tone it down and get bonked by the baseball bat. And Bump is somebody who's got to take a seat. You gotta ride the bump and sit down for a little bit. I'll start with your Brink. Who is your Brink of the week?
My Brink of the week is the lacrosse community. We have come up huge this week. We're getting the All-Star Game Rising Stars versus Veterans for the first time since 2005, and it may become a staple moving forward. I think that game's going to be electric and is coming at a time where we just got done with Worlds not too long ago, and lacrosse is just in a really good space. But also, rule change goes into effect almost immediately. Review is now available for crease plays in NCAA men's lacrosse. And I would assume that's probably going to extend to women's lacrosse as well, to be honest. But that's huge, especially after what a lot of Philadelphia fans saw last year that are into lacrosse with Penn State and them losing at Lincoln Financial due to a very controversial play. So that's a huge win for not only coaches and players at that level, but fans of all levels.
My Brink of the week. I just had it. Where did it go? I have to find it here.
Oh, Athletes Unlimited started for women's too. I almost forgot about that.
Oh, my Brink of the week is it's Barbenheimer. Barbie Oppenheimer week. It is proving that the unintentional cross-promotion marketing for those two movies worked. They're both expected to just perform astronomically at the box office. Obviously, we stand in solidarity with Screen Actors Guild, Writers Guild of America. Give them what they deserve. So this is not a paid promotion whatsoever, but like the fact that double feature is on the table to go and do as a form of entertainment. Also, Deej, I'm pissed that we were too young to even realize that in 2008 we had a very similar Christopher Nolan involved potential double feature that walked so Barbenheimer could run. In 2008, do you know what movies came out on the same day? Mamma Mia and The Dark Knight.
Really?
Mama Knight walked so Barbenheimer could run.
Mama Knight screaming. I mean, I'm a fan of Barbenheimer. I'm that
Did you
weird
know
guy
that
that
you have one of the movie theaters near you that you need to go see Oppenheimer at?
yeah, yeah,
The
it's the
the
one that I
70
go.
the 70 millimeter IMAX.
It's the one I go to every Tuesday. That is my favorite movie theater in all of the land.
Did you know there are only 19 70 millimeter IMAX movie theaters in the United States, and there are
And
only
we
30 in the world?
have one of them
There's one in
in
King of Prussia that's right
little
near
old
me.
Kalamazoo.
Unbelievable.
So yeah, I definitely plan on seeing Oppenheimer in IMAX. I wish they were showing Barbie in IMAX. You know how much fun that would be? Do you know how much fun that would be?
I'm excited to see those movies.
I think I'm probably going to see them both. I think that's a
Yeah,
fantastic.
I feel
double
like I
feature.
have to do the double feature. Like, it's just something that has been so hyped up that like I feel like I'd be left out if I didn't do it.
And I'm probably going to go on a Tuesday. Oppenheimer
Our
at
boy Stevie
IMAX.
Mack is going on a Tuesday. Did I tell you this story?
No.
So he's doing date night because he's got $5 movie
Smart man.
tickets and
Yep.
everything on
Yep.
Tuesdays.
Smart man.
They are going to Barbie at around 5, I believe, or 5:30. Then they're doing a quick little fast food dinner. When he booked the tickets, our boy Stevie Mack did not realize that Oppenheimer's a 3-hour movie. Their Oppenheimer showtime is 9:00 p.m. on a Tuesday.
No.
He's going to be experiencing the atomic bomb exploding at midnight like it's fucking New Year's Eve.
But that's going to
3,
be
2,
that's gonna be me.
1.
It's going to be me with Barbie. Would I go in at like 9 to watch Barbie? Because
He's
I'm
going to
probably
be
going
up
to do the
until
same
2 in the
thing.
morning discussing Christopher Nolan recreating the atomic bomb for a movie with his girlfriend.
Which is so sick.
It's hilarious.
So sick.
So,
See, he needs to tell his movie theater to step their game up and get some food in it. Because I'm not leaving for dinner.
I
He
might-
right there in the
I might
theater.
do because it adds up to being like 6 hours of actual movie time. So I might do Barbie as like a matinee and then
Go
do
home.
Oppenheimer later, or vice versa. However, I'm feeling that day. If I'm feeling fun, I might end with Barbie. If I'm feeling like I need to just be locked in and dialed to the most loaded cast ever and watch a bomb go off, I might do Oppenheimer late. Who knows? Deej, your bonk of the week. Who's been horny and needs to simmer down and get bonked?
It's Antonio Brown. After him getting on Twitter and going, "Let me get next," to Adam22, I said, "Mans is on one."
That is hilarious. AB gets DJ's inaugural bonk. My bonk of the week. I feel like you've seen these popping up on the timeline. You're also a TikTok person. My bonk of the week is Pinky Doll. These NPC videos and the people in those comments, including Timbaland, I'm pretty sure, was one of the highest bidders, donators on one of her streams. Those videos need to go away. They need to be bonked because they are way too horny online. It also came out that she's like 27 and not 19. Pinky Doll's my bonk of the week because it just needs to be stopped. Needs to be stopped. Deej, who is riding the bump for you this week and just needs to take a seat?
Dan Snyder. I just don't like him as a person. And I also don't like people that are somehow able to do very little work and still make a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, that's like the worst franchise in all of the NFL. Outside of the Bears, because I just hate the Bears.
And
but that's different.
my NBA team's owner owns that team now. My bump of the week. Taking a seat, because he's actually taking a seat, and he's got option to AAA. It's Derek Hall from the Philadelphia Phillies. Your nickname is Long Ball Hall, my guy. You're tearing it up at AAA. You get called up, and the long ball just does not show up. You got to take a seat. That's why you're getting sent down to AAA. Derek Hall gets my bump of the week because the long ball just disappeared, and you can't have that when your nickname is Long Ball Hall. So, DJ's Brink Bonk Bump is the lacrosse community, Antonio Brown and Daniel Snyder. Seeing those in no context is a wild thing. And I'm going with Barbenheimer, Pinky Doll, and Derek Hall, #bars. So those are our Brink Bonk Bump of the week, and that's going to do it for this episode of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Make sure you guys are following us on the socials, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, @UndergroundPHI. Follow Deej on Twitter at SCS_NextGreat. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. Leave a 5-star rating and review. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow, helps more people find our network, and lets us do really dope shit that we want to do with you guys. So go subscribe. Subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. As we are sitting here, we are currently at 516 subscribers. Need to get to 1,000 before September 4th. Otherwise, DJ's booking a one-way flight to Alaska, and we don't want that to happen. So go subscribe. Be a friend, tell a friend. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers, guys. Come on, let's get there. We're also very close, Deej, to partial monetization on the channel. Very close, which means more live streams with what we're able to do with the partial monetization could be on the way. So subscribe, watch the video, smash the like button, ring the bell icon, comment down below your Brink Bonk Bump of the week, your tier rankings of these new NFL jerseys, and anything else Deej and I discussed on this episode. Also, we're presented by the City of Vineland, and the City of Vineland Municipal Calendar features city-organized, city-sponsored, and city-affiliated events that are of public interest, and hopefully soon, #up to something season will be on the City of Vineland Municipal Calendar. The calendar, which is accessible at vinelandcity.org, is a good way for residents and visitors to build awareness, remain engaged with city government, and participate in local events. You can also follow the City of Vineland on social media via their Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube pages. Through these tools, you can stay connected to the community and get important announcements about programs and services offered by the city. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. Big thank you to Security 21 Security Systems and Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated for their continued support of this podcast. And get your merch at PHI Apparel Company. Use code UNDERGROUND for 10% off at phiapparel.co on any merch orders. This has been episode number 552 of Underground Sports Philadelphia. For Deej, I'm KB. We'll be back this weekend, myself and Patty Pitts, and then hopefully on Wednesday live once again with the man, the myth, the legend, the Italian job himself, Matty Castorina, back in the seat. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here, and we are signing off. Peace.
Peace.